Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we're going through my round 15 AFL Fantasy Team Review, in which was another relatively poor round for me, and you're starting to see the problems in which are almost highlighted. Well, sort of go hand in hand with what I explain in the AFL Fantasy and Supercoach mistakes video that'll be released an hour or so after this one. Just mistakes with cash gen, mistakes with players holding on to them, etc. Underachievers really have killed it, and I'm trying to fix those problems now and trying to not make the same repeated mistakes, especially with my trades this week, which you'll see on Friday. That are players that I don't want to go for those sort of 700k guys because I want the definite guys, and I'm still trying to generate cash because I have a plan in which I still actually don't have a completed side. But I only have like two or three. I only have, I think, with my trades this week, a rookie and also Tom Powell on field still. And the rookie, I have like three guys that it can genuinely be. Three rookies that are playing, and I think Schoenmaker, Tholstrop, and Dowling. So I think those three guys could generate a score which is healthy enough that I don't burn too many points. So it'll be like 20 points burned or something like that. But I also get a guy that I've been not having this whole time, that I've had in Supercoach. So yeah, just really happy to grab him up when we do that team preview on Friday. But yeah, that's gonna alleviate a lot of the annoyances that I've had with my team so far. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this recap. So as you can see, 1892, 21.091 million, round 15 rank of 15,625, and an overall rank of 6,090. I think I slid back, another 400 spots or so, 200 spots, so not the worst there. Jordan Clark, my D1, scored an 88. It looks actually brighter for him, I would say, just because with everything that's happening at Freo, he should get more of a distributing role. Yes, they play Sydney, so James Jordan will be on him. But Luke Ryan looks to be set to play more of a lockdown role, which will suck for him and his fantasy prospects. But Jordan Clark does get the, especially in a week's time after the Sydney game. Let's look at their fixture. They play Richmond, Hawks, Melbourne, Eagles, and then so on. I think he'll be really, really valuable in that time, but not at the moment with the Swans tag. But we've also seen Lachie Whitfield do the Swans tag and go 108. So he can do that possibly. But I'm not expecting, when I look at the tag game, expect a 70 or 80 with the James Jordan. If they go 100, so be it. But a 70 or 80 for James Jordan could be on the card. For Jordan Clark could be on the cards against James Jordan, but we'll wait and see on that one. Nick Martin, 93, he's sort of just plodding around that top 8 basin. You can see here 103, 105. If I look at the defenders' averages, here you'll see that is still top of the line. Jordan Ridley did drop quite a lot, and now he is around that last 3 of 93, so he's dropping off the pace. But so is Nick Martin to a certain extent, but Nick Martin has the runs on the board, and I'd be still happy to see another couple of weeks of him because he put up a 120 recently and he's still putting up a low of a 93. So that was his second lowest score of the year. Aside from this 85, he's been ultra consistent. I feel like he gets a bounce back game sometime soon. Harry Sheezel, 111, he's doing his thing. Hayden Young took 3 goals to get to a 104, but I don't care how many goals it takes to get to a score. If you get to a good score, then that's so be it. And he, again, is a 101.1 guy, and that is just perfect for the defense. Lachie Whitfield, a 108 against the Swans. He really didn't... The thing about Lachie Whitfield's 108 is that it wasn't as run and gun impactful that it was usually, and I think that's... If we measure a tag on how many disposals they get, it's quite hard to... you'll think that this is a failed tag, even though he had 25. It didn't work efficiently compared to the 19 that he had against the Swans in round 8, and he did have another 7 marks. But I think it actually was still a valuable tag. I think it did work to a certain degree because I don't think he had as good of a game as he probably would have if he was playing without a tag. So I think if you say it for that reason, then it was a good tag, but it wasn't the tag that we saw in round 8, which worked a lot more efficiently. I mean, he still had, 80% disposal efficiency, 509 meters gained. I want to look at his profile for the season and see all his season stats to see what is his disposal efficiency for the season's 81% and his meters gained is 498. So I mean, it was pretty an average game for him, I guess, in a sense. But they didn't get the Lockie Whitfield of the one against the Dogs, the Lockie Whitfield against Collingwood here, where he had 33 touches against in these games where he's having like 30 plus touches and really impacting the game. So I think that's why it was an effective tag here. You see 35, 29, 29, etc. So I think that's why it was an effective-ish tag. Logan Evans, I thought he was really, really good. Means I do have 3 defenders at the moment with Schoenmaker, Evans, and Reed. But I was really happy with the 75. And a lot better than all of my guys here that have sort of failed. But yeah, really, really happy with Logan Evans, a 75 there. And he should be playing next week, to be honest with you. -9 break even. So he'll be making cash very, very quickly. Alongside that of Schoenmaker, who's got... they're both pretty much the exact same. So they'll be both making really good cash. And one of them will probably have to... one of them will probably play or be the emergency off the bench to see if I can get their score, depending on the matchups, etc. that they have. I know Evans they both have each other, actually. So who do I go to necessarily? That'll sort of depend on if Ari Schoenmaker gets a game, depending on all the guys that they have back from their injury list. But yeah, really happy about both of them, having them both. Probably would have rathered to have had at least someone to trade into this week, but I've gone early quite a few times and been right, so trying to go early again will be quite annoying. But yeah, pretty happy about that. And those two didn't play. Errol Gulden, 154, he's been amazing, and he's almost at the point now where he's untaggable, and that's so good for fantasy because he plays like 98% time on ground, and he's rapidly catching the top of the line guys, like top tier guys. If we look at average for all positions, I've got all of the top guys. You got Max Gawn, who's number 1 by quite a margin, 119. You got Errol Gulden, number 2 now, 113. So yeah, he's going to be, I think he's roughly around the same price that he started out last year at. I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check that for you guys. Here we go. Let me just double check. 2023, he ended out 112.5. So yeah, he's roughly around the same that he was last year at the end. And he can go on a serious run because they're looking at tagging. They tagged Chad Warner to Bedford. They also looked at Callum Ward on Isaac Heaney, and it worked to a certain extent for fantasy numbers, but it didn't work in terms of clearances and output. But you can't really tag Errol Gulden because he's got 98% time on ground. He is going to burn the team into the ground. He did actually take a rest against Adelaide with 88%. But you see here 98, 88, 95, 97, 95, 96, 92, 90, 97, 93. This was the same with Bailey Smith, I think, at the start of 2023, as he took everyone away. And he was basically untaggable, getting 40 touches a game on the wing. Those two could generally, Bailey Smith and Errol Gulden, could be 30% on ballers that spend all the rest of the time on the wing and just are untaggable because they spend 95% time on ground. And I think they could honestly be the best 2 wingmen for the competition for the future. Zach Merritt, 111. Zach Butters, 124. These two were pretty good. I knew that Zach Merritt, and this is the thing that I talked about in the stakes video. I know that I was doing the editing last night and saw the top trade-ins. I mentioned it in the video, and I said Salem was 6.8k traded in for a 53, and Rosie was traded in quite a lot for his 114, I believe he got in the end. Let me just double check that with Rosie. Rosie ended up with a 115. And that's the thing about this, and I mention it quite a lot, is these mid prices that are, or the 700k guys that have a good R3, L3, that you trade into. And I just worry about them quite a lot more. And that's why I'm more in the camp now of going for, like, I could easily go, I can tell you right now with my trades, I could easily go Clayton Oliver and Tom Powell, or Clayton Oliver and Jeremy Sharp, and go, yep, I'm going to trade them to a Connor Rosie and a Jai Simpkin. That could easily work. But I'm worried that they return back to those 70 and 80 scores. And then I go, well, I've just basically wasted 2 weeks of trades because I got Clayton Oliver here and Jeremy Sharp. And then you know what is the result of that? You don't get off of let's just put it, for instance, maybe a Billy Dowling, for instance, for this sake and purpose. And then he becomes a red dot, and then you're like, I can't really have a way of upgrading him here, etc., because you're trying to figure out other things. And his role now is a 0 cash gen rather than a guy that's 80k cheaper, that's making cash and will get up to that Billy Dowling price of 301k by the time you actually trade Billy Dowling out itself. So you've effectively wasted about 80k in cash gen and not really moved forward. So that's why I think I'm more of a proponent of actually trading one up, one down, rather than trying to go for these mid-pricer guys and trying to predict them, because it just doesn't work. And I think we've shown it countless times in that mistakes video that comes out in an hour after this or so. So that's why I am moving on. I think both Sharp and Oliver, but you'll see my trades. I think two out of these 3 guys will go. It's just a matter of who they go to. And I won't give that away if I haven't really already given away, because I think I've given enough away to know who it is. But yeah, Merritt was huge. I knew this was coming. Yes, he probably does cop. Doesn't cop a tag against Geelong. He won't cop a tag here. Won't cop a tag. He actually doesn't cop any tags, to be honest with you. Adelaide won't tag. St Kilda, Windhager. But that's like 4 weeks away. 4 weeks of good scoring is still 4 weeks of good scoring. Freo, maybe Jamie Ash will go to him, but don't really think so. Toot Miller probably goes to him around 22, but then again, Toot Miller's not the best tagger. Not the absolute worst, but still not the competition best. James Jordan maybe against Essendon, but honestly, I think he may go to Nick Martin down back or something like that, just to tag Nick Martin's ball movement out of the game. But then again, Nick Martin can be very, very hit or miss with his ball movement. So they may even just say, yeah, we'll go to Merritt and tag him out of the game. They may go to a Caldwell even, or tag him out of the game. So yeah, I would look at that. Zach Butters, 1-2-4 through a tag is pretty good, so shows that he can do, but it was a tag that got moved on and off constantly. They, like James Jordan sometimes does, they do move it from the guy doing well to a guy, from a guy that's being tagged to a guy doing really well, mid-quarter, mid-game. So I think he had a couple of quarters where he didn't do anything, and then a couple of quarters where he did do quite a lot, did Zach Butters. Let me just double check that, because that could be wrong in saying that. So let me just double check that quickly. Port, here we go. Zach Butters, first quarter he had 34 fantasy, second quarter 45, third quarter he had 14, so I'm pretty sure he got tagged after halftime. And then the last quarter he had 31 when the game was dead. So I'm pretty sure he got tagged in the third quarter for 6 touches and no non-disposal points, basically. Let me just double check that again. 1 tackle in the third quarter, and I think he had a couple free kicks against, given that that's 13, 17. Yeah, he would have had 1 free kick against. I don't know what that was for, but yeah. Clayton Oliver, he sucks, and I think I mentioned this a couple times. Vams and Didac, we've sort of all have this sort of thought of we're going to have to really look at Clayton Oliver in the preseason to really look at him, because he's priced at 80. If he drops another stinker, 79.4, if he drops another stinker, he'll be in the mid-70s. If he's mid-70s, it's going to be so hard to pass up, because a full preseason of Clayton Oliver, potentially a club change, potentially. We could see that. I'm not saying that will happen, but a potential club change could really help him out. So yeah. Tom Green, he really turned it up. He really did what he needed to do, and a 1-2-7 was huge. Confidence in him to back it up. Jeremy Sharp, I had confidence in, but then again, it's a wing role. He can have stinkers, and he's had back-to-back stinkers and really burnt me. So yeah, I basically lost 100k there. And if my cash gem was better, I probably would have traded him out earlier. But anyway, that sucks. That's life. You make mistakes. That's it. You're not always going to be perfect, I guess. Tom Powell, another mistake that I'm going to be cleaning up in the next couple of weeks. He just hasn't kicked on to gear in the bye rounds when you kind of need these guys to kick on. So yeah, that'll be a mistake that I clean up next year, in the next couple of weeks. I believe he's the one that's probably going to stay. Just given that he's got forward mid status, and I can flick around some rookies if need be to get the best score available. Joel Frazier on the bye alongside Jack Chris and Bontempelli. Joel Frazier will be one that stays in, just because JJ's hamstring or quad or whatever it is doesn't seem to be healing as well. I don't think he's available just yet, but let me just AFL injuries, let me just double check that for you guys here. Physio, where are they? They're down the bottom here. Let me just double check that. Joe Hannison 2 to 3 weeks, Keith 2 to 4 to 6, Norton a test, Croft a test, Caulfield a test, and Cleary a test as well. So we'll see how that goes. I wouldn't be surprised if Caulfield is a returns in the VFL just because of everything that's happened. But yeah, it looks like Fraser could be safe for another week. Chris Bontempelli, etc. And then moving on to the rucks, we saw Gawn 98. That's fine. Brady Grundy again, 1-2-2. Yes, his disposal efficiency was absolutely poor. Comes up against a really tough matchup. Will not be my VC, I can tell you that. But yeah, 1-2-2 from him was huge. Who's Gawn have? Gawn has Brisbane. That's a tough matchup. Can't rely on any of the rucks this week, which sucks. Sammy Flanders 111. I'm glad that I had the Grundy VC. I mean, I would have loved the Goulden VC. Will be interesting to see. I may even go Goulden VC or something this week. When do they play? They play early, so yeah, that'll be a VC I think for Goulden. Western Bulldogs have North, so it'll be a Goulden or a Bont VC, depending on. But Bont will have Will Phillips. Will Phillips is Will Phillips, so we'll see. May probably go Goulden there, to be honest with you. Sam Flanders 111, he was pretty good and did his job. Isaac Heaney 86, he still scored like a 120 in Supercoach, which shows his impact, but he didn't really get the non-disposal points. I'm pretty 1 mark, 7 tackles. So yeah, would have liked to have seen the more marks there. But then again, it's still a 23 disposals, 7 tackle. I think he had also gotten 10 clearances or something like that. So a lot of contestable clearances as well. So still impactful. I think he ended up like I think it was 4th best on ground in the coaches' vote. So yeah, he was still 4th best on ground with a 23 disposal effort, which just shows his impact. But doesn't really show that he really put it on in terms of fantasy scoring with his lowest score of the year. Zach Fisher 88. Did all right, but not outstanding, but still going to be top of the line, I think, for fantasy scoring in terms of his. He just did his job. Dylan Moore didn't play. Luke Jackson 39, he sucked, but he'll be back to his best, I think, against Sydney. I think he can. What did he score earlier against Sydney? He scored 73 against the Swans, so I'd expect him to be back to his best. He just did nothing against Gold Coast. I think he just had a stinker of a game, to be honest with you. And then Colton Tholstrup 72. Really happy about that. Him playing sort of this hybrid role. I'm pretty sure. I actually haven't checked the DFS, the CBAs for Melbourne to see what exactly Tholstrup's role was. You see here, Rivers 80% here. You see, was Tholstrup had 0%, so he just played a half forward role. So maybe he's not sustainable enough. But I think I can eke out a rookie score from my 3 or 4 rookies that I have enough to have a score available. So yeah, I thought he did all right against North Melbourne without the time on ground. And looking at that, Salem 8%, whereas that was Neil Bullen 8%, the Salem 0, Sparrow 32, Piggott 36. So they really spread it quite far and wide to pick up the numbers for Petrarca's injury. And then we had these DMPs on the bye. Well, DMP for Manor, he didn't play. Dowling on the bye and Nick Dacos on the bye. So those were my trades reminder, which I think are pretty decent trades when you think about it. 72, 75 and a Zach Merritt 111 was pretty good considering if we go to last round, I basically picked up about the 15th or so highest score. There weren't many below that I really could have picked up. Maybe a Sam Walsh would have been a better pickup in general. Or maybe a Josh Dunkley himself would have been a better pickup. Josh Dunkley could be an interesting one to look at next week, to be honest with you, but I'm not 100% certain with him. And maybe a Neil as well could be a good look at, but he may come under the microscope of a potential target. But he could be another good pickup to look at. But yeah, other than that, there weren't many guys that you could really look at picking up. And that pretty much is the video there going through my round 15 team. I think I have better, especially after doing the mistakes video, I think I have a better mindset of what to do with trades and how to better look at trades, I think. So yeah, that was a really valuable video for me. And I think that sort of changed my outlook on trades and how I'm going to go forward with them. And I think it should be better in the future because you see so many mistakes from trading that are easily rectified. But anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys I guess you will see past me in the mistakes video, but then I'll see you guys back for the videos tomorrow, which will be the cash cows and trade targets videos. Bye guys.